Picture this. You live in a quiet, suburban town. Kids ride bikes past perfectly trimmed lawns. People wave when they walk their dogs. It's the kind of town where nothing ever happens. Except something did happen. And it didn't just happen. It festered. For years. Behind a door on St. Paul Street in a little town of Blackstone, Massachusetts, where a house, and this house held secrets. Rotting secrets. Screaming secrets. Dead baby in the closet secrets. Yeah, I said it. This is the story of Erika Murray and the house of horrors she built while the world pretended not to notice. Before we begin, this episode contains sensitive topics including violence and trauma. Please take care of your heart and mind. Listener discretion is advised. Now let's begin tonight's lullaby. Okay, so let's talk about Betsy Brown. She was that neighbour. You know the one. Watchful. Kind of nosy in the best way possible. The let me bake you banana bread, but also I will absolutely call the cops if you're shady kind of neighbour. Her son was friends with one of Erika Murray's kids. So he had been out in the house over at Erika's house. But one day in August in 2014, he came home and said something that made Betsy freeze. He told her he'd gone into Erika's house and there was like trash everywhere. Not like, oh no, I forgot to take the recycling out. No, like trash covering the floors, feces on the walls, diapers stacked in corners, rooms you couldn't even walk through, and a crying baby that nobody ever sees. Betsy had no idea that there was a baby in that house. But you want to know what Betsy did? She marched herself over to that house, opened the door, walked in, but she did not expect what she saw next.
According to the documents, police were initially called by a neighbor. The reporting officer says, quote, on arrival, I was met by the reporting party who stated that she was called by her son, who is friends with the male subject that lives at the address, and he asked her to come over because they could not get the babies to stop crying. The responding officer says after noticing the condition of the children, who he says were covered in soiled diapers and feces, he called for backup. One officer describes one room by saying, quote, I could smell an extremely strong odor of human feces. Inside the room were dirty diapers and piles of trash. Also, new information released on the second adult living inside the house. Court documents reveal that 37-year-old Raymond Rivera is the boyfriend of mother 31-year-old Erika Murray. Police say Rivera was growing marijuana in the basement and filed a criminal complaint. The children remain in DCF custody. Their mother, Murray, is facing numerous charges, including fetal death concealment.
And I found the smallest baby. She was laying in the middle of the bed, completely covered in feces, feces all on the wall. I was walking on dirty diapers to get to her. I was upset. I was crying, and I said to her, what are you doing? What are you doing? Just really upset, right up next to her. And she's kind of laughed it off and shrugged her shoulders and said, I don't know. I said, I want to know if you knew those babies were in that house when you left this morning. I want you to say it to me, that you knew those babies were in there. And she's like, I knew they were in there.
After police arrived, the children were handed over to DCF. 31-year-old Murray was taken into police custody. According to court documents, she stated all children were hers, but she has not told anyone in her family, including the two older children, that the younger children are hers. She stated it was because she wasn't planning on having these two younger children, and she knew she couldn't afford them.
It was a smell that wasn't just nappies and diapers. The second she stepped in, the smell hit her like a punch in the face. And this wasn't like someone didn't clean up the litter box kind of stench. This was death and decay mixed with rotting food, human waste, and something off. There were two kids inside, a 3-year-old girl and a 5-month-old baby. Both were just covered in filth. The baby had maggots in her ears. The 3-year-old couldn't even walk properly because her muscles were so underdeveloped from being trapped in a crib most of her life. There were flies buzzing around old milk bottles, not just a few flies, hordes of flies. Dirty diapers were everywhere. Rooms you couldn't physically enter because the trash was just too high. Oh, and Erika? Where was she? She was just chilling. Like, this was normal. Like, she was living her suburban dream life in a literal landfill. So yeah, Betsy called 911 because what she didn't know yet was that she had just unlocked the door to one of the most disturbing child neglect cases in US history. When police arrived, they thought they were dealing with a neglect case. Maybe a hoarder, maybe drugs. But when they started digging deeper, literally with a shovel, that's when the nightmare began. They opened one of the bedroom closets and found a tiny corpse, a newborn, wrapped in a onesie, in a blanket, hidden behind piles of junk. But then they found another and another. 3 dead babies. 3. All hidden in closets, dressed in clothes, left to decompose. Some were wrapped, some were not. Some had been there so long they were skeletonized.
Murray is heard in state police audio recordings admitting to giving birth to 3 babies who were later found dead and 2 alive babies, all in the bathroom of her house.
Everybody in the house sleeping? Mm-hmm. All right, so you gave birth, wasn't breathing. Did you take any type of life-saving measures? Did you CPR? Did you clear his airway?
I didn't know what to do.
Didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. So what'd you do? Exactly. Tell me exactly what you did. You remember? Did you cut the umbilical cord?
Yeah.
Okay. No sound at all, baby. Made no sound whatsoever. Mm-hmm.
This woman, Erika, gave birth alone in her bathroom and then left the baby to die and did it again and again. Can we just pause? How? How do you do that? So here's where things got even more twisted. Erika Murray had 7 children. Yes, 7. And only 2 were registered anywhere. The 2 oldest. They went to school. They had birth certificates. They were vaccinated. But the other 5, Erika had them in secret. In her bathroom. No doctors. No birth certificates. No one knew. She said she wore big clothes to hide her bum, gave birth at home, and never told anyone. When asked what happened to the babies, she literally said, some of them didn't cry. They weren't breathing. So I put them in a closet. Wait, what? What? You put them in a closet? She claimed she didn't know they were alive. She didn't want more kids. Her partner was abusive and he didn't want more kids. So she just hid the evidence. It wasn't just the babies. The house was unlivable. CPS was called, Child Protective Services were called to the worst that they had ever seen. There were dead animals in cages, a rotting dog that had died, feces in the hallway, blocked rotting garbage, cats covered in feces. The 3-year-old had never seen sunlight. The baby had never left the mattress. And no one had ever seen Erika pregnant 5 times. So in 2019, 5 years after the bodies were found, Erika went on trial. She was charged with second-degree murder, assault and battery, child endangerment, and animal cruelty. The defense said she was mentally ill. She was depressed, she was isolated, maybe even delusional. The prosecution was like, cool, but she hid 3 dead babies, 3, in her closets, like a serial killer. And the verdict? You're not going to believe it. Not guilty of murder. Let me repeat. Not guilty of murder. She was found guilty of assault and battery on a child and animal cruelty. That's it. She was sentenced to 6 to 8 years and she'd already served about 5 years. That meant she could be out in 2 or 3 years. even she'd probably be out now. How is that possible? We still don't know how all 3 infants died. There was no clear cause of death. We don't know if they were born alive and left to die or never had a chance. We don't know how Erika hid this from everyone. Not even her partner noticed. She would have loud music, white noise machines to cover the baby's crying because she knew he didn't want more children. She never went to doctors, no prenatal care, no one reported the smell, the sounds, nothing. You guys, what kind of world lets this happen? What drives a person to such depths of secrecy and despair? What kind of world lets 3 infants rot in closets while their mother makes formula for the living ones? And what kind of justice system says, let's not call this murder? No, let's just call this child endangerment. This wasn't just a failure of one mother, it was a failure of everyone around her. Neighbours, of systems, of silence. So yeah, next time you hear something weird from next door, don't brush it off. Because behind those walls could be a house of horrors just waiting to be uncovered. Children to be rescued. If you're still with me, first of all, thank you. You're brave. This one was a lot. And second, let me know in the comments what other horrifying stories you want me to dig into. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Make sure you share this with someone who says things like this never happen in small towns. Because, babe, they do. Until next time, stay safe and stay nosy.